Dear students, let's see how to understand the demand of history optional. Generally, there's a doubt among students that what is that demand of history optional? See, I keep telling this, meet the demand of the question, but now meet the demand of history optional. So, what as a student you should really keep it in mind is the first thing is in any question, identify the directive word. You need to be very particular about the directive. So, what are the directive words? There are many words. I've just given few: discuss, explain, analyze, critically examine, assess, justify, trace. Do you agree with? Critically comment, evaluate, elucidate. So, these are all the directive words generally given by UPSC. First, identify the directive word. I've just taken an example. Assess the role of Shivaji in the rise of the Maratha. So you have to assess how Shivaji made the Maratha kingdom to grow. So you need to write the contribution of Shivaji and you have to give a balanced view here because the directive here is assess. Here you need not write about Shivaji's early life, Shivaji's childhood. So whom did he marry? What exactly happened to his last years? We do not want them all. So it's just assess. So directly we move on to the contribution of Shivaji in the field of administration, like the Ashtapradhan, in the field of economy, like his agricultural and right worries, trade reforms. Then we go on to his religious reform, the conquests. So this is what we write because the question is assess the role of Shivaji in the rise of the Marathas. So after Shivaji, the Marathas did not fall, they rose. So what exactly Shivaji did to make the seat of power very strong so that his son could take over. So it should be a very balanced way. So the first way to understand the demand is hold the directive word. So that's the first one. The second way to understand optional is identify the core theme. What do the examiner really want from you? Explain the religious policy of Akbar, particularly with Sulay Ki Hul. Was it a failure? I'm just reading a question. So when you see this question, the core theme here is Akbar's Deen Ilahi. So you need to understand, and your focus should go on Akbar's Deen Ilahi, not on Akbar. So ignore Akbar, early life, conquest of Akbar, military genius, Navaratna, the petticoat government, miscellaneous, the court patronage, technology. We don't want anything. It's just the core theme is Deen Ilahi. So first identify the core theme. The next one is understand the time frame. A student of history should have a clear understanding about the time frame, that is chronology. If the question is about Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, the time frame is again to begin with it's 1920. Or if the question is about Krishna Deva Raya, you need to make the time frame 1509 to 1529. So a student of history should write the time frame of the core theme, what they have asked, and history without a year, history without the bracket system, it turns to be a myth. So every answer should have years. Particularly, we call it as a time frame. The Indus Valley civilization. So just write it: Indus Valley civilization, 2500 BC to 1900 BC, the core IVC, which extended till 1600 BC. So you need to understand the time frame. So the Mahajanapatas, when we take the Mahajanapatas, it's like 321, sorry, 600 BC to 321 BC. You need to write the time frame. So if they ask you about the French Revolution, so you have to write it like 1789 to 1815. The unification of Italy, 1815 to 1870. So the time frame plays a very, very important role. So you have to understand, you have to identify. The next way to understand history optional is spot the debate. Are they asking you about any debate? Just you have to be very conscious, you have to be very careful. Spot the debate. I've just taken an example. Was the revolt of 1857 mere a sepoy mutiny? So there are two views. View one would say yes, view one would say no. So you have to write both the answer and you have to bring it to a balance. So is there a debate? Yes, if you find it out, say the pros, say the cons, or give the two sides of the debate and make your answer balanced. This is one important aspect to understand history optional. The next way to understand history optional is do not overwrite. Do not write or do not give what the examiner do not want. So don't overwrite. You have to cut short your answer. You have to make it simple. You have to make it crisp and write what is required. Do not write more. Getting it? So I just tell it in a funny way. We teachers teach you all the ingredients and we teachers teach you how to cook. Now UPSC wants you to make curd rice. So you have rice in hand, you have curd in hand, mix them, add salt, give curd rice. So instead of curd rice, you give lemon rice, your answer would go wrong. And don't give something extra. So to show that you know them, no, not at all. They're not going to look into your answer. So do not overwrite. So that's one way to understand history optional. So the simple tool to understand history optional is hold the directive, pick the theme, go with the time frame and give examples. Plenty of examples. Examples make your answer, it makes your it elevates your answer. It makes your answer very strong because you are hitting on examples everywhere. So if you follow these themes, what I have told you, understanding history optional would be easier. So these are the small tricks which a student should understand. And once you keep these in mind and go on with the syllabus and start studying with the class notes and the prescribed textbook, I think UPSC history optional is all yours.